someone signs up for a gambling website, they accept that they've probably got more chance. Well, I mean, if they know what they're looking at, they accept that they've got more of a chance of losing than winning.
Welcome back to the number 5 podcast in the world, The Outspoken Show. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that good shit.
Bang it.
Thanks for tuning in.
But yeah, if you're signing up for online gambling, you should know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, you should know what you're doing.
It's no surprise.
No surprise that the house always comes up on top. These casinos make money.
Yes.
They can't make money if everyone's winning. It's like the chances are very much on their side.
Yeah.
And online, it's even worse. Program it.
Exactly. That's the thing that I don't understand. How do you trust the program that it's running off?
That's where I feel like it's bad, because that's where the people who are addicted go. Because there's not enough to go in, because it takes time to actually get into a casino and go and do shit.
Yeah.
But you've now got to do it while you're at home, online, all the time. That's where online, I think, I lean towards agreeing with, don't make that as accessible as it is. Because you can kind of do it, like in terms of sport, people can do it anyway.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's so accessible, it just snowballs.
I think with this as well, because it's so new, because it's gambling with cryptocurrency, it's not US dollars, it's not Australian dollars, and it's offshore, so there's so much distance that's been created, and what they're doing is so new that I don't think any rules have been established yet. There's no precedent for this sort of stuff. So I think that's also what the angle of this is. I think the guy's name was Coffee Break or something like that. CoffeeZilla.
CoffeeZilla, very nice.
But that was the angle that he's taking as well, because it hasn't been established how legitimate it is.
So not doing anything wrong, per se, because there's no precedent for it.
Yes.
What happens in that situation, though? Because a precedent has to start somewhere. There's always someone who did something before it was established. Being the first, can you still, you'll still cop it once they start to bring it in? They're like, hey, because not everything's been done before.
Of course.
The precedent starts somewhere. Does that first person's like, okay, well, you're not getting done for it, but everyone who does this from now on, you now get done for it, because that's where the precedent. I don't know. That's weird.
How do they establish precedent?
Yeah, and there's a person who they've established it on because of the situation. They basically just have to stop.
Yeah.
And everyone after that gets punished. I don't know.
Or, maybe they get some of the... Or they don't cop as much of the downside because... Yeah. But then that sort of defeats the purpose of precedent.
Because someone lost based on a judge's call.
I don't think that'd be the case. I think they would probably go harder on the first person.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
That's what I was thinking.
Well, lawyers. They would go harder on the first person just to establish that precedent. Because if we go, we're going to use you first, but we're going to take it easy on sentencing, well, then that's not much of a precedent to go off, because all the other people... It's like, well, it's not that strong.
If you're a lawyer, send us through a message on what precedent is, and make it digestible for us too, so very clear and simple.
But yeah, no, that was just really weird, because morally, I guess, bit 50-50.
Just depends on your lead, where you lead and people's personal responsibility. If they're deciding to go and gamble, they know that they're probably... Or there's a huge chance they can lose money. So you can't feel that bad. You're just promoting the site.
Yeah.
People got in there should know, if they're old enough. Well, do they gauge by age? Is there precedent for age in gambling and something that's already illegal to do? And it's it's offshore, so anyone can gamble?
But you've been hustling at the moment.
Oh, side hustle's real. Oh, finally got an interest that's making me money.
Finally.
More so than...
It's not like golf.
It's like the opposite of golf. It's making me as much as golf was draining me money. I think I like the trade-off a bit better with this one. But no, I've just discovered DoorDash. Thank you very much.
So you're a dasher?
I'm a dasher, bro.
So you spend time delivering people's food?
Yeah, go and pick it. I'm shocked. It's the easiest work in the world.
How much are you getting paid?
Well, roughly, I've been doing it I've only just started. So for about 10-hour period of working, it averages $20 an hour. And I haven't even been targeting the peak hours where you get more money.
True.
So if that was your only job, you'd have to work a shitload of hours to actually be making good money. But as a side gig, on top of what you're making initially, I can't believe I didn't discover this earlier. I didn't even think about it.
Why?
I don't know. I always...
Because, we've all ordered Uber Eats before.
I feel like, and this is on me, but I feel like it was stigmatized. I was like, well, I'm going to deliver people's food. I'm too good for that.
True.
But when you break it down, it's like, why do I think that?
Yeah.
Why do I think... Because that's what it was. I guarantee. It's partly that, because I'm like, oh, I'm better than that. Which now I'm like, that's such a stupid thought process, because you push out so much easy money
Yeah.
just because you think
$20
you're better
an
than
hour.
something. Like, no, it's money. It's money. But also, I thought it'd be like $2, $3 a delivery. Like, nothing. It wouldn't be worth it. You'd be getting $10 an hour, which, I mean, you could argue is still probably better than nothing, but...
Well, $10 is better than nothing, but yeah.
But
I
it
know what
works
you're
out to
saying.
basically a
Close to
minimum
20.
wage salary in terms of if you did it full time
Yeah.
and only for 30 an hour.
So why do you think? Why did you decide to go back not go back, but to do work?
Yeah,
because you weren't wanting to. The stigma.
Oh, yeah, I just hadn't even thought about it because I didn't mind the idea of, to get ahead, you get a second job at some point, working the hours where you're not dedicated to my main
all a
job,
bit of
which
pride.
is, which is I want to, like, that's my main focus and that'll always come first. So finding a second job that's flexible, I didn't even have it in my head. Like, the Uber shit, you literally do it when you want to do it. But I keep hearing stories about, and one just finally sunk in because, I mean, more close to home, where you hear about the owner of the business we work for when he was coming up, just working full time and then working on the side to get ahead to help pay things off. Like, that idea it seems very consistent with people who end up getting ahead. It's not just working what you need
overtime.
to work, it's working on top of that. Where it's within your job, where it's like possible. If not, find something else on the side where you're kind of your own boss and flexible.
There's no balance to success.
Yeah, like, what am I even doing? Like, I think slowly over the past few years, I've slowly just been like maturing and starting to realize what to do to get ahead. Like, you don't even think about these things. Well, I never thought about these things till 2 years ago.
Yeah. Why do you think people like Chris, who you're talking about, from Muscle Nation where we work, went to work and do dishes or work at a bar at the Penrith Panthers Leagues Club while just raising money or saving money for his family and starting a business. But why do you think successful people are more willing to go back and earn the extra money or put more time in?
Because I think they understand what it takes and how beneficial it is to, as early as possible, set yourself up. Or they realize at some point that you have to be doing more than just what's average in order to get ahead. It seems so simple. But I think a lot of us, including me until 2 days ago, is like, average will be good enough. I'll be able to just save, just hustle by and make do with what I can. But if there's a potential for more, when you have the time, when you have the thing, or when you have the not as many commitment issues. I mean, I have a child coming, so that also fed into it. Like, I need to start doing this now. This kicks me into action. I need things that to like push me to do something. And I'm like, this will be huge. Like, the amount of extra money. Like, what do you break it down? If you get 20 an hour, say I work 20 hours on top a week.
That's 400 a week.
Possible, yeah, 400 a week. What's that? 20 grand a year?
Yep.
On top of whatever I make from my initial work. That's essentially, compared to what I've been earning recently, that's 20 grand.
Well, 20 grand more.
Free money. It's like free money, not free money because it's got time commitment and it's work, but it's not going to be draining.
It's not that demanding.
It's not. It's not a demanding.
Are you just putting in a podcast or what are you doing?
What do you mean? Oh, yeah.
Or like while you're writing?
Yeah. It'll be podcasts in between, podcasts where I'm going. When I'm in the shop, I don't need to put a podcast in. I'm going to embrace. I'm actually using this as a great experience to learn the great areas around Brisbane to buy food. If I go to a restaurant, I'm like, oh, this shit's nice. We're coming in. Babe, I've got a good restaurant for us to go. Maybe they'll give me a discount. I don't know. But it's just like side hustle. Like, you did side hustling for a while.
Working at a bar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On top of working full time, essentially.
Well, that was a cooked period because I was also at uni full time. So I was working like 70 hours a week and uni, which I wasn't doing that much of it, but it was still full time. I was just a bad student. But no, because working at a bar Friday, Saturday night, that's when you spend most of your money. And instead of doing that, you earn money. So instead of being down 200 after the weekend, you're actually up 500.
Yeah.
So there's like a $700 difference each week, which is insane.
Oh, huge. And that just adds up. And that's on top of whatever you're making before,
During the week, yeah.
Well, you break it down, it makes the most sense in the world. Like, why isn't everyone doing that? And I'm sure more people are than I
don't think that many people are. I think most people are pretty satisfied.
I'm not satisfied.
Like, there's a good reason to be satisfied.
Yeah. If you have enough, it's very easy to be satisfied. Like, if you have enough to get by.
Yeah.
It's very easy to sing there like, it's fine, life's good. I can get by with this. But getting that drive to be ahead, I don't know, Luke.
It's hard.
It's happened. Maybe this podcast has also inspired me more to like push me to save and do certain things.
Hope so.
It definitely has influence.
Well, because we were talking about KSI because he tweeted, and I mean, he's probably the king of doing too much.
Oh, yeah,
and
king of
this is
hustling.
sort of what he said, because he tweeted the other day saying, "I'm my own worst enemy," and I'm guessing, and I didn't actually look at this, but it was probably on the back of not releasing some content because just mentally or physically sick
needed
or
a break,
exhausted.
yeah.
Needed a break. He said, "I'm my own worst enemy. I just overwork myself and don't rest enough, and then I get sick. Touring almost daily, second channel videos, music videos, training, press, Sidemen main channel, Sidemen second channel, Sidemen reacts, crypto, living life, and then I hardly rest, lol." And then he tweeted back to himself saying, "Forgot to add making music, Side Plus, Amazon Doc, and filming for other YouTube channels. If you looked at my calendar this year, you would be sick. It's ridiculous how much I do. I know it's mental, but sometimes I hope to get COVID just so I can get a 2-week break quarantining." So then he tweeted back again saying, and he's going back and forth with himself here. "So what do I do? What can I do? I've made this mess because I enjoy doing so many things and I just want to do it all." But he ends up saying he just might need to manage his time better and start saying no to more things. But he goes, he doesn't have time to see his family. "I don't even have time to see my girlfriend. I'm a workaholic and I just work till my body physically shuts down. Don't worry about me anyway. I'll use this as a learning curve."
It's a very controlled breakdown, like mental breakdown, but very controlled. He's like, he's
We
working.
probably had like 3 revisions.
He's working it out after each tweet. He's like a little bit like, okay, there's more, but I'm okay. This is just what I'm going through. He must be copping a lot of heat from before he did that because something's got to him there. Like I would think maybe he's just come to himself, but I would think something's got to him.
I'd say so.
What provoked it? Did he not release on a? He probably
I
wouldn't have a
imagine
video. He
he
just missed the day
was
of
meant to be up on a
releasing.
Monday and something didn't make it up. But because he's an example of wanting more.
Wanting
Clearly,
more, making it happen.
Yeah, and making it happen. But there is a balance, because he's probably of the belief that there's probably no such thing as too much until his body is just screaming at him.
Which I think long run, I mean, you'll have a great time for a short period, or maybe you won't. It's workaholic, but if you love what you do, it's a little bit easier. But long term, I don't know how conducive this with like being happy eventually.
It's weird because if you love what you do, can you do it 18 hours a day?
Yeah, I don't know. He clearly can. He clearly
because
loves it.
he
And
has-
it gets to you, but you can do it.
He has said many times he loves what he does, and that would make it a lot easier to do more of.
Huge motivator for sure. If you really like what you're doing every day, it's not hard to keep yourself
Yeah.
doing it.
But lacking sleep makes it hard to enjoy anything. So
Man, that's it. You hustle for a while. You hustle till you hit a certain age where you've got more than enough. Then you relax a bit. You still hustle on the main things you love doing, but you can take the edge off after a while. Because he's still young. He's like 26.
I don't. Is he even 26?
I thought he was 2 years older than me, which is probably 28. But I could be off.
28.
Fuck. Oh, I've been watching him since he was the FIFA YouTuber, mate. He was the GOAT. Loved watching.
And you've just gone back into his reacts as well, haven't you?
Kind of.
Sort
I'll go through like a 2-day phase
Okay,
every
yeah.
6 months. 'Cause look, what's he up to? I used to love this guy. Oh, he's funny still. Oh, it's good. Not as good as he used to be. All right, I'll go off for 6 months. Come back. But there must have been lots of people getting angry that he had missed an upload or something like that. Like how he lets it get to him, which would be hard not to if that's how you came up.
I think he also probably feels a massive responsibility to provide happiness to a lot of people who are watching, viewing, listening to his stuff. And that their happiness is on the days that he releases. And it's for the 18 minutes or 24-minute video. That's their bit of happiness. And forcing yourself to provide that every single time, I guess, can wear down on you.
Yeah, at what point does it become too much where like
It's
you
a
can't
pretty huge burden.
You can't miss an upload or else 300,000 subscribers become completely like upset with it and it actually ruins their day. Like he's got to stop reading comments because at some point you can't hold yourself to that level forever because you will break down more and more. Like at some point, when do you not worry so much about how the fans are going to react if you do things slightly
Like, he
differently
would be
than
at the
they
point, if
expected?
anyone was to be at the point where they don't need to worry about the micro conversations amongst the fans, like he's at that point. He's
for sure.
established, well and truly established, that he doesn't need to, but he does. And is that why he's KSI?
It's why he got to where he is now, for sure. But like long term, how mentally, how much of a drain, and physically, is it worth it?
So do you reckon people would do things on, like calling it the come up, that they can't sustain forever?
Definitely.
Is that an okay thing to do?
I think that's a thing, and the hardest thing is learning how to pull back. I'm not on the come up. I've been on the come up, but in my head, it makes sense to me. Like you need to do more while you're coming up, and then when you get to the point, there's a period where you can come back a little bit, and things will still be okay. And you can come back a little bit more, and it'll still manage itself. But then changing that mentality that got you the success must be the hardest thing in the world.
Oh.
It must be the hardest thing in the world. So I can't even understand how he would like be able to come back. But you would think for his long-term mental health, he needs to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And that's probably where mentors come into a lot with guys like this. Like you can
There's
only
not
talk
that
to
many
someone
people
I
that
know.
he's like one of the first on YouTube. There's no...
in terms of that space, but maybe you can learn from other people.
Yeah.
They come up. Where's Elvis Presley? Like, you see how that affected? Like even that, like they end up in drug-induced coma, which ends up not very good. Like,
You don't say.
oh, that's not good.
No, it's not
That's not a good ending.
It's a terrible ending.
But like, he seems at least very self-aware of what's going on. So
Yeah. And there was someone else who came to mind. I can't
No.
remember what I was going to say.
slipped your mind. But it's got to be tough because you got everything. You think they'd be happy, but no, it takes a lot to get everything.
Well, I was listening to Dan Bilzerian on a podcast, who's on the Nelk podcast, and he was saying when he was playing poker, one of the hardest things about playing poker is bankroll management. So the money that you've got in front of you, managing it, and if you lose this, how much money can you afford to pull back in, and managing the money. That's one of the biggest things in poker. But when you lose your money, going back and lowering the stakes, that's one of the hardest things to do, because you could be playing a $1,000, $2,000 game, but you lose all your money, so you can't play this game. So now you're playing at a $50, $100 game.
Yeah.
And the toll that has mentally, because people can't just scale back like that.
Yes.
And play at the same, it affects the way you play. And even like I've just played on World Series of Poker, it's like an app.
Yeah.
And even doing that is hard to take seriously. Just with like your bankroll, like scaling the stakes back and forward. And this is years ago, and it was not even for money. It's just
Yeah.
like the coins.
Once you get to a certain
yes.
point, you feel like, fuck, I'm playing.
Like I'm just
5 and 10s?
wasting my time.
Yeah. What's the point?
And but then that forces you to make decisions that you wouldn't normally make. So you're like, fuck it, like I'll be a little bit more risky because it's not much money.
Yeah.
But that risky decision doesn't pay at the same rate that a good decision does.
Yeah.
So you lose all that money, and then it just spirals, and then you're
back.
trying to get there quicker.
Yeah.
So then you make another risky decision, but it would like
With poker, I can see it all fall. Like it's be so easy. Like you probably have to go bankrupt 3 times to be a good poker player. Like this, because
Yeah.
the stakes are that high to get that good at it, and it's as much of a game of. It's as much a game of chance. Like it's as much of a game that requires skill as possible gambling.
yes,
But
a
it's
lot of skill.
It's still a lot of it's gambling. You still can't dictate everything. It's not like a sporting match where you just have to outwork and be better than the other player to win.
You're still
you can still be
relying-
better and lose. Like
Yeah,
it's one of those ones where it's tough because it can probably trick you into thinking it's all skill, and a lot of it is to get to a certain level. But at some point, it's also gambling. It's also luck.
yeah.
You get too confident, then you fucking just lose.
So
everything.
how are you able? How would you be able to scale back if you're at that level?
I don't know how you would
Like whether it's KSI, okay, taking a few less things off his plate, or at a poker table lowering the stakes. How do you cut things out to increase quality of life or sustainability?
That's probably the $1 million question or multi-million-dollar question in his case. Like, how do you do it? Because it kind of needs to be done. You need to at least offload.
sure.
You
Has to.
at least need to offload things to other people. I don't know how you mentally can do that.
How does The Rock, like, because I, with myself, I'll go back and forwards as like, I don't have the time or energy to do this, but it's like, you just see one person do it and that's enough to believe it. And The Rock is one of those people. Or Kevin Hart. How do they do it?
Do we think some people are just built different as well? Like
don't
some
know.
people are built different where there is never enough. Like it will never get to them because they've come to this realization where this is just what I do. I am this. I can't be broken, and they never are. Like there must be.
If you can't be broken, you won't get broken.
There must be a certain percentage of people who that's like, there is not too much. They've found that balance, which it could be the 18-hour working a day, and that works for them. Maybe there's just that fucking
So do you
incredible.
reckon? So do you reckon The Rock will work? He probably works more than 18 hours a day.
Like, has he ever?
It doesn't seem like it.
But again, is that just because of he's a bit older than Case? Like, it's a different generation. It could be a
Maybe.
generational thing in how they. Because his whole life's on the internet, he's going to express himself on the internet.
Maybe.
The Rock's come up was a bit different, probably, where it was like more just fucking
Traditional.
Yeah.
Traditional media type.
Yeah, so he'll never let loose if he is actually suffering. So
Maybe.
Yeah.
But maybe his balance is at 18 hours a day.
Yeah.
That could just be.
I think that's a thing too, isn't it? Like, there's got to be some people who are just that is life, and they're happy doing that. Where do you get that gene from?
Yeah, spending time on the couch is actually
Oh,
a pain
I'm dying.
to yeah.
That's me dying. I'm accepting defeat. Like,
And to some people, that's the balance that they were after. So
I mean, it's a very tough thing to work out what's right and wrong because I think everyone's different, clearly. But operating on that top level like he is, fucking hell, like that's a lot. That's a lot of a mental drain too.
the amount of pressure.
That's also a thing
Because you can't just step away.
What the people say too.
And you can't just step away. Because, I mean, obviously, KSI has for like a minute, but you're paying a lot of people as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of people eat because of you.
That's where you've got to kind of think it's okay. Like, I'm sorry that it's going to affect your ideas, but I also
But then
matter.
that's selfish.
It's not. But it's
No,
not though.
it
That's
is,
in
though.
their head. In their head.
I think it is.
You think it's actually selfish if he wants to take a week break?
Yeah. Well, okay, not a week break, but if you like, actually,
12-month break. You think that's selfish?
I think it is.
Why?
Because people rely on you.
People rely on you in what way? Making money off you or you paying them in terms of like you're their employer?
Okay, well, in the employer sense.
But surely he's got the money to take 12 months off and then he can give people the money that if they're still doing the
Maybe.
work.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
if your work is purely dependent on him doing his thing, you live and die with that. If he has to take a break, you've got to figure something else out. Like,
But that's the interesting thing. Like, if a business, if the CEO isn't happy, he can step down. And more or less the same, another person can fill that position. But no one else can be KSI. No one else can fill The Rock's boots. They can help him, take some things off his plate, and maybe try and mimic or assist him. But they can't be that person.
I don't think it's selfish then taking a break then because that's you're with a unicorn right there. There's not many people like that.
We found a fucking
That's
unicorn,
a
boys.
unicorn, bro. Like if you're relying on someone else for your income purely, and you can't do it if they were to step away, you've got to kind of look at that and be like, okay, if he were to step away, what can I do in that situation? Will my skills translate to something else? Will I be able to do it? I think there's also, I don't think it's selfish.
I agree
think
with
it's
that.
personal responsibility. Like,
I agree.
that's that whole
But I-
standard of living thing. Like, you might have to scale back.
Yeah, but in the same way that someone else's actions, like this KSI, I don't know. I feel like their actions are
Personally,
like an enterprise.
Personally, and he probably takes that whole burden. That's why it gets to him so much because he thinks of it like that. And a lot of people obviously probably agree with that. Like, yeah, a lot of people rely on you to do this. You have to be perfect to keep everyone happy. But I don't think that's fair, even though fair is not everything. But I don't think like that's good for him. Because at what point are those people now just using him because he has to be perfect so I can make money from him?
I don't think.
Is that not selfish the other way? Because like, no,
but-
do something yourself
but
then.
KSI is the person that set up the dynamic.
Depends. I don't know what.
Well, he
who
probably is.
Are we talking
He's
about
probably
a
the one that
manager who's got
established the
30
role.
clients? Probably not. If you got
Okay.
someone who can do something like that, it just depends. Are you talking about other content creators who rely on him? Like,
I don't know, but like he'd have an employee, an editor, he'd have a personal assistant. I don't know,
I
like
don't think it would take that much of a hit if he took 12 months away. Like, it might ruin it forever, but that gives them time. He would have money to, well, who knows. But
But you don't just pay someone for 12 months for no work.
exactly. So maybe give them notice. I'm going to be taking a break in 3 months. You got to figure something else
And then
out.
if you want to come back, you just got to rebuild.
Yeah.
Start from scratch.
They don't want to.
And then you're going harder than
But
you
it's
were.
like, I get it. I get you the responsibility. Then somehow you got to outsource. You got to put someone in a role where they can mimic it. Well, they can't when it's a creative enterprise. But then how many employees does he have? What would he have employees for?
You'd have a lot.
Like what, editors, creators, when it comes to music and stuff.
I have no idea.
But lots of these people would be employees for multiple people. Like editors
Potentially.
work for lots of people. Like your personal assistants and stuff, sure. That's different.
But
But
they'll
I think,
have like, I don't know.
I think you get too hung up on who's going to be like that reliant on just him succeeding. Because that's a terrible gamble as like you're relying on literally one person doing it. I understand working for a lot of companies is probably like that. One person does something stupid, then you're cooked.
Yeah.
But that's what it is. You then have to be able to find something else. I don't think it's selfish.
I don't know.
I see your point though. I see
Yeah.
why.
I see your point.
Yeah, we agree, disagree, and we understand each other. It's a cordial conversation about
It is
disagreeing.
cordial. And Elon Musk is worth $230 billion, which is Bill Gates and Warren Buffett combined.
That it? Wow.
Just a little bit.
Is he still second? Because I'm sure Bezos.
I think Bezos is second. No, so who? Elon Musk?
Yeah, what's
He's
Elon?
first.
He's first now.
Yeah.
Bezos shouldn't have stepped back, mate.
Took it easy.
Yeah,
Took it easy, the bitch.
yeah, he stepped back. He scaled back at 60, whatever the hell he is. There you
No,
go.
I think Bezos is like in his 40s or 50s. He's pretty young.
He must just look old because he's bald, maybe. I don't know.
I feel like bald makes you look younger.
Okay, there's a point where it makes you look younger, but if you go bald earlier, like 20s, you look older.
Yes.
So maybe when you
But
hit...
he's definitely not 20s.
Yeah, of course. But maybe when you hit 40, going bald actually starts to make you look
Okay,
younger.
he's 57. Wow.
Yeah.
I was completely
Yeah, I
out.
was right.
And
Thank
I
you.
just gave him one hell of a compliment.
Yeah, it's all the surgery he's got done, mate.
I don't think he's had surgery as a bald white man.
Isn't he the one where they show like before and after success? Or is that just him getting healthy? Like him starting to work out and stuff, like where there's like a huge difference.
Oh, maybe a little bit of physical fitness? I don't know.
I thought his face structure changed and shit. Like, is that changing
I
if you
haven't
start
seen those
lifting
pictures.
weights? I don't know. I could be thinking of someone else. I could be thinking of Musk, to be honest.
I can't imagine Musk changing. And he's definitely a guy with no balance.
Yeah,
He's just not interested.
yeah.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
doesn't
not-
seem
not
to
for me.
it doesn't seem like it drains him.
I feel like... Have you seen any of those videos on YouTube about him where he's sort of just talking about how shit his life is? I feel like it definitely affects him.
Is he being comical though? Because that guy's it's hard to read sometimes.
He's hard to read. I think he's just very
I know-
depressed.
I remember it.
And he does, like... I feel like his only...
Purpose in life is to work.
Not only that, but he feels like he's been burdened with this brain that he has to utilize.
He said that on Joe Rogan, where he was like, "You wouldn't want to be me."
Yes,
like
yeah.
people would not want to be me. It is not. Yeah, you're right. Actually, it's not fun being me. Like my brain is always coming up with something, doing something. It's like it's a burden, the
Yeah.
burden of greatness or whatever it is, the burdens of genius.
Well, in Last Dance, Michael Jordan said the same thing, where he goes, everyone wants to be Michael Jordan for a day, but try being Michael Jordan for a week or a month. Then no one wants to be Michael Jordan. Like,
That's what Elon Musk is still gone, but that's where Jordan. He didn't have balance coming up. He became the greatest, and now I imagine he's scaled back a lot in terms of.
I can't imagine he's doing.
Yeah, I can't imagine
I
he's
don't know.
overseeing
I
that.
don't know.
Like he's not working like he was when he was playing basketball. So he's scaled back and probably happier for it. I don't know. But to get there, do you break yourself mentally at the pursuit of greatness and setting your family up? I guess that's the most selfless thing to do.
Is it? Yeah.
Selfless. Like I'm going to destroy myself mentally, but my family for 10 generations they're gonna be good.
They're gonna eat.
That's the ultimate fucking sacrifice.
Is that a gene?
I don't know. I think I
Is
lean
drive
towards.
and ambition a gene?
I don't know if it's. I think it can be, like nature as well, or nurture.
You reckon? Because I feel like if it were, there'd be a lot more people. Why is it just such a small percentage? Because pretty much anyone like that you sort of hear about in some sort of way. Now, I'm not saying they're the most they're the greatest basketball player of all time, but they make it to the top and they stand out amongst the crowd. So it's such a small percentage.
It's got to be a combination of both. Whereas like maybe they figure out earlier than everyone else just what it takes.
Yeah.
And they want it so much that they do it. Now, is that because that's how they're born? That's what they think? From early on they realize that? Do they just realize it earlier and it sticks? I don't know. I think I do lean towards it probably is something internal. Because a lot of people have a similar situation bringing up in terms of tough, easy. Like, some people have great upbringings and still turn out to be fucking incredible, driven
True.
people. I don't think it's many.
Yeah.
Because there's not also that added pressure of I've got to get out of this shitty situation. But they still exist. I'm sure people come from wealth to end up creating even more wealth in their own wealth, and not just because they were helped along the way.
In year 12, I did an assignment on a speech a conversation or an interview. It was that success is genetic, because Donald Trump, in an interview with Oprah when he's like 30 or something, a very old interview, said that he reckons success is genetic, and that he hoped that in some other university, if he wasn't his father's son, he would still have that sort of drive or that entrepreneurial mindset. But he goes like, it'd probably be me owning a fruit shop or something like that. But he believes that he was just blessed with, or blessed, burdened, whichever way, given the genetics that put him, and obviously his dad situation helps him, but he believes it's genetic.
I think it's too simple to say it's genetic.
I think so.
Because I think you can learn at a later age what it takes. And is that just you suppressing that gene till then, and then it just all of a sudden clicks? No, I think you can get it both ways. I think you can learn later on in life what it takes to be great and then act on it. But then maybe the willingness to continue pursuing it once you've figured out what it is that genetic? I don't know. I feel like you can learn success. And you just got to be open to being taught.
There's so many people as well who will sort of get a glimpse, and so because Dad played cricket for the Bulls, sort of made it to a high level, but didn't quite push through. So he sort of made it. He got a peek behind the curtain, and he sort of speaks as if he knows exactly what it takes because he's seen what he did. He's seen what others have done that actually got there. So, but then, in terms of cricket, by the time you get that chance, for you, it's already too late in terms of that cricket sense, because obviously with sport, there's an actual time cap on how good you can be good for. But yeah, at what age as well do you get to see that glimpse?
The potential obviously diminishes as you get older. Because also if you start to then, probably if you have a family, you got more things where you need reliability more so than taking that big risk to become successful.
True.
That can factor into it. But I think you can still learn how to be successful if you haven't got that initial drive. Whether or not you take their advice, or you even if you know what it takes, whether you do it, I don't know if that can be just genetic. I feel like you can be taught that. You can just be around someone. Like, your environment's huge. You're around people who are successful and doing well. That can make you want to do it too, because you're seeing it every day.
For sure.
Just that constant reinforcement. I think I lean more towards nature. Even those people who come
nurture or nature.
Oh, nurture. Sorry, nurture. Yeah. Where I think more can be learnt from your environment, surroundings. More of it is like that than just internal. I think the internal people are rare, but there are lots of successful people who have just products of the environment they've been around, and they've been able to use everything they've taken from everything to get somewhere. That's what I lean towards. I think it can be learnt. I don't think it's ever like, if you didn't have it from young, you didn't have it worked out by 26. You know by now. But maybe you stop doing it. You know by now.
There's a couple of people who have almost like a bulldozer brain.
That they can't be broken, and that I think could be the the fucking nature.
Genetic.
I'll just say genetic from now. Yeah, that could be different.
Because that bulldozer brain of, like, just running at shit fearlessly.
Yeah, but everyone who's successful, or most people, they've had failure. They've had lots of failure, whereas that's nature. Nurture. that's being able to learn from your experiences and be humble enough to say, this is what I did wrong. I do this next time. Works, doesn't, fail again, try something else. So that's environment conditioning you to be better at what you're doing.
And it's also circumstantial because you may not be in a position where you can afford to fail. You might have to not be as risky.
That's why you're not
because
risky,
you've
but
got
you're not
two
a
kids.
success. Yeah.
So you can't roll the dice,
Yeah.
and maybe that roll leads to failure, but it's that third time that you roll the dice that it really pops. But being in a situation outside of whatever you're pursuing determines your judgment
Can
or the
affect your
ability
judgment. Yeah, you might know what you need to do, but you might know that you need to take these losses, but then your kids don't eat for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you can't do that. Or
it could be
bankrupt Centrelink's help you out. You're willing to take that. Live very modestly while you're continuing to pursue.
It could be a 50-50 dice roll, but the 50% that it doesn't work out and your kids don't eat is way worse than the upside.
Yeah.
So you don't roll that dice.
Yeah.
But then someone who's 23 and rolls the dice and it fails 3 times, they're 29, still living at home with their parents. For them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So, but then again, that's environment allowing you to
Being
pursue
able
the
to
success,
fail.
being able to fail and without the consequences.
That was deep.
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in to the number 5 podcast in the world. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.